What is up, my friend? Welcome to episode 97 of the Anthony John Amick podcast. Today, I want to talk about the power of making declarations and how that is very different than making requests. You may be able to hear the crickets chirping. I'm actually sitting out here on the deck of my new house, and it's dark outside, and I don't have the podcast set up in the office yet. So that's what it is. So if you're looking for some inspiration, insights, and how to create a new level of freedom, purpose, and success in your own life, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Anthony John Amick podcast, the one and only podcast designed to help you become unstoppable in life and business. My name is Anthony John Amick. My friends call me AJ, and my goal with this podcast is to help you remember who you truly are so you can maintain your center in the chaos, embody your potential, and unlock freedom in your life and business. That being said, let's get into today's show.
All right, welcome back. Before we dive into today's topic, if you're an entrepreneur who feels stuck or stalled out and you want some help in getting out of your head and into massive momentum, then I'd recommend that you head on over to talkwithaj.com to grab a time to talk with me. It's 100% free, and here's why. On that call, we'll get extremely clear on where you're at, where you want to go, what's keeping you feeling stalled out and stuck, and create a game plan to help you get from point A to point B in your life and business as fast as possible. And then if you want some help executing that game plan, we can talk about how I can help you make that happen. And if you and I feel it's a good fit, then we'll talk about what we can do to move forward. Now, in full transparency, I do this, number one, because I know it's my purpose on this planet to serve as a guide and to help people remember who they are, a sovereign creator, a soul in control. And number two, I know if you want some assistance, I can be financially compensated for my gifts and talents in helping you create your desires faster. Now, I don't think I can make it much more clear than that. So with that being said, if you want to break through and create your next level of freedom, purpose, and success as quick as humanly possible, then go to talkwithaj.com and grab a time to talk with me. So with that being said, let's talk about today's topic. Like I said, I'm sitting here on the deck, on the porch of our new house, overlooking our acre and a quarter of beautiful trees, and there's crickets and all kinds of stuff here at nighttime. And so I want to talk about the power of declarations versus requests. So let's talk about this a little bit. So this week we moved into our new home. It's an amazing, amazing home. We had the entire home completely redone inside, new kitchen, new bathrooms, new floors. We moved walls. It's essentially a brand new house inside. And when I got here on Friday, when we moved in, they had put in the kitchen island, and I was like, what the fuck? The kitchen island was about 20 inches further into the living space than in the kitchen that I wanted. Now, you may not know this about me, but I'm very particular about the flow of just the energy in the house, which I know sounds like woo-woo and very ethereal, but I pay attention to the way the house feels and the way the energy flows through the house, and it's very important to me, especially if it's my space. And especially when I spent so much money on the house. And so I was just really upset by this. And so I went to the contractor, and my wife has been kind of the general manager of this project because this is what she loves to do. And I asked the contractor, I was like, yo, bro, can you move that island back? And he's like, no, we've already set it. We've bolted it to the floor. It is what it is. And I was like, huh. And I was mad. I was so angry. I was like, okay. And so I just kind of let it be. But there was a part of me, when I got honest, there was a part of me who felt really sad. Was I angry? Yes. But below the anger, I was sad. Because I've had this new revelation. I've talked about this on the podcast. There's a part of me that carries a lot of anger because growing up, it wasn't safe for me to be able to make requests. The train is about to run. I'm just going to let you know that you're probably going to hear a train in the background, and it is what it is. But get back on point here. There's a part of me that carries a lot of anger because growing up, I didn't have the space to make requests. At a young age, I learned that if I make a request, it's probably not going to be honored. And in that, I better just learn the rules of the game and how to be the good boy and show up inside of the rules of the game so I don't have repercussions, right? Spankings, etc., or just nobody listening, right? And so there's a part of me that was sad. And as I've gone on this journey, I mask that sadness with anger. And as I've been pulling back the layers of this, I've like, oh, wow, well, here's why I carry a lot of anger. I make requests and people don't listen. They don't see me. They don't hear me. And so I was like, let me learn how to dominate them so I can be heard. I can be seen, right? And we all have ways of being around this. We all have ways of being where there's been events in our life where we had experienced something. And in that, we weren't able to create the desire that we had. And so we adopted a persona. We adopted an identity. We adopted a way of being to learn how to get the thing that we desired. So in my case, it was like acceptance and being seen and being heard. Like I learned how to play this game pretty well. So now coming back to the thing in the kitchen where I'm like, yo, can you move this thing? And they're like, no, I can't. So I have to understand, like when I make a request is one of those things that I have to be willing to accept. It can be a yes or a no. So inside this game of marriage, inside the game of leading a team, inside the game of leading children, if we're making requests, we have to understand that sometimes people can say no and we get to be okay with that. And that is making a request. Now, a declaration, on the other hand, is this must happen, period. No other options. So again, coming back to the island, it had to be moved for me to be happy with our home. Like I told my wife, I was like, hey, this thing, this island, it's about 20 inches into the living space, and I hate it. Like, if we don't fix this, it's going to drive me insane. I'm going to walk in the house every single day, and I'm going to want to blow up the house. Like, I'm going to fucking hate this house. And she's like, okay, well, what do you want to do about it? I'm like, anything. I don't care if they have to tear it down, reorder the quartz countertop, reorder the cabinets, rip out all of the floor, and redo the entire thing. And I do not care what it costs. I want it done. And she's like, are you serious? I'm like, I'm dead fucking serious. She's like, it's that big of a deal for you? I'm like, it's that big of a deal for me. She's like, okay, well, I will talk with the contractor and I will see what they can do. And I was like, perfect. And so that's what she did. And so today today's Sunday. So earlier this week, they moved it. They moved it to where it was. And once it was moved, I walked in the house and like the energy flow was perfect. It just felt right. It felt good. And so here's the thing that I want to have you consider. Is there certain things in your life that are important to you? And in that, it's okay to step into a place of declaring and owning your truth and holding strong to, no, this is important to me. And there are other areas in your life, or there are other things in your life where you can step into making requests. And in the place of making requests, that's where you get to accept both sides of the coin. If they say yes, great. If they say no, great. It's a simple request. Now, this is very different than I used to think. See, growing up and just the way I used to think, I didn't know there was a difference between requests and declarations. Like in my marriage, I didn't know that there were certain things where I could declare, like, I want this done. Or I need this to happen. How can we create this together? Like with massive masculine certainty, not from a place of like dominating somebody with a persona of like the domineer or the bully or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. It's just owning, like stepping into a level of certainty where you're like, look, this is an authentic desire for me. This isn't a request. This isn't like a nice to have. This is like my soul needs this. How can we create this together, like a certain level of leadership? And again, that way of leading, that way of communicating, it translates into the way that we parent our children. It translates the way that we lead our employees. It translates the way that we lead our husbands, we lead our wives, we lead our parents, our family, our friends, right? This is a way of being. This is a way of leading. And it matters because you have more options to actually like create deeper and deeper relationships, which in turn actually fuel you rather than drain you. See, growing up, I didn't think that I could make requests. I'm like, nobody's going to, hear me anyway. So let me just tell me how to play the game and I'll play the game. But when I do that, there's a part of me that I'm betraying Because when I get honest, there's parts of me that have certain desires that are like, I really want this. And to not speak that was withholding my truth. And as a result, resentment builds. Now, as you're listening to this, I want you to consider, like, where in your life are you not really declaring that which you desire? Like, are there things in your marriage that you're not stepping into a level of leadership to declare that you want? Are there ways of you relating with your children or your family or friends where you're not stepping into a new level of leadership, a new level of certainty to declare things that you desire? Are there certain desires that you have in the game of life, in the game of business, that you're not even willing to admit to yourself, like, I need this? Not out of an unhealthy way, like you're not complete without it, but it's just like an overflow of like, no, this is my purpose. This is like, I truly need this. And being willing to trust yourself and speak that into the way you're relating with yourself or the way that you're relating with other people. And the lesson that I want you to get here is when you're willing to step into this radical new way of knowing, this is a thing that must be done for me. This is a desire that I have that must be done, and step into declaring it. And in that, it's so certain within you that you work with yourself and other people to make it happen at all cost. It is done. It must be done. And on the other side of that coin, being aware of, like, you have requests. And it's okay, rather than, oh, I don't want to rock the boat. I'm going to just push this down. I'm going to let this resentment build. Instead, you're like, yo, I have a request. And in that, being able to honor, if they respond with, no, I don't want to honor the request, that you can be okay with that. Or, oh, I'd like to honor that request. And in part of doing that, you're going to create new levels of connection with people, new levels of happiness, new levels of freedom. So here's my invitation for you today. Where in your life are you not declaring that which you desire? And how much more fulfillment, how much more power would you have as a man, would you have as a woman, if you gave yourself permission to step into a new level of leadership to declare that which you desire? And again, it's not coming from this bossy thing. I want to make sure I'm driving this home. This isn't like, I declare this is what I need, make it happen, save me. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you're coming from a place of calm, centeredness, groundedness, a homeness within you, where you're like, I have this desire. This must be done. How can you and I work together to make this happen? So like when I was talking to my wife about the kitchen, I was like, look, I'm going to hate this. I'm going to resent this kitchen. I'm going to resent this house unless this is moved back 20 inches. And she goes, is it a big deal to you? I was like, it's a huge deal for me. She's like, well, what if it costs an extra $5,000? I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if it costs another $20,000. I want it done. It's that important to me. She's like, it's that important to you? I'm like, yes. She's like, okay. I was like, so how can we work together to make this happen? She's like, I'll talk to the contractor and we'll come up with a game plan. And we came up with 2 contingency plans. It was like, if it can't go back 20 inches, can it go back 10 inches? And if it can't do that, like, we came up with the game plan, right? But my whole point is I trusted myself to say, look, this isn't a request. This is a declaration, right? So I hope this is serving you. I hope this is getting you to think differently and giving you an opportunity to step into a new level of leadership to trust yourself. So I hope this episode is inspiring you. If it is, I would love to hear about it. If you don't mind, is taking a screenshot of you listening to this episode on your device, post it over to your Instagram stories, and tag me at AJ Amix over on Instagram. My friend, that's going to do it for this Sunday Sermon Edition. I know this is a little shorter episode. It has been crazy, a crazy 4 days last week. From Friday to Monday, I moved out of our luxury condo, moved into this new home. It's not 100% done. Been working with contractors to get everything buttoned up, cleaned up, sorted out. On top of that, did Halloween for the first year for my daughter, trick-or-treating with my wife and I. I officiated my cousin's wedding on a Sunday. My daughter was supposed to start her very first day of private Montessori school on Monday. I didn't have all the paperwork, so I had to get the paperwork done, and then so she started on Tuesday. So it's just been a crazy whirlwind. So I am just happy, honestly, to get this podcast out and into your ear holes. So, my friend, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, my friend, I'm out. Peace.
Well, that's all I've got for this episode of the Anthony John Amix podcast, but we have plenty more to help you become unstoppable in life and business. So head on over to ajamix.com for exclusive resources, information, and tools to help you break through to a new level of freedom, purpose, and success. I look forward to having you back for the next episode. Bye for now.